Yo, what is up? My name is Sven and welcome to a new base build video. This time I'm going to show you guys how to build the 4x4 shell V1. This is a 2x2 into a 4x4 base that has double peak downs and is relatively simple and easy to build. Now, before we jump into the video, let's talk about today's sponsor. Now once again, this video is timestamped. You can find the timestamps of all the parts of the video in the description and in the video YouTube UI. This video will be in separate parts. We'll first talk about the base in general, then I will give you guys a tour. I will talk about the upkeep and the build costs, and then I will show you guys how to build the base, following at the end with a little sneak peek of the second version of this base that I have made already, and also some further upgrades that you might want to do or you want to leave out, depending on what you want to do with the base. Summarizing this base up, it is the ultimate base for a quad group. In the build you will see that there's a lot more bedrooms than just 4 bedrooms, but I've mostly do that because you can actually build it with a bigger group as well. I would just say the minimum is an active 4-man. It is the type of base that you basically want to build if you're very actively playing a server, and preferably if you're a bit late for wipe. Let's say you start playing maybe second or third day, what I would recommend. The reason for is that the base is pretty easy to build. There's no like multi-TC or wide gap stuff going on. Well, there is multi-TC, but it's not fundamental to the actual core of the base. And in terms of peak downs and how fast you can actually build up a defendable base, in terms of the build costs that you need for it, this is a very simple and cheap base to build. I would almost say snowballing is the right term. It is, but it's snowballing if you're actively and actually want to commit and get rated straight away. In terms to list out the other features, we have double peak downs. There is multi-TC takeover TCs. There's not a wide gap. It's more of like a traditional way of how you would do wide gaps with triangles on square placement. And other than that, the base features a nice big open loot room on the top side, an open roof, and definitely a lot of very good covered turret spots. Now that's it for the intro. Allow me to give you guys a tour of the base. Now, allow me to give you guys a tour of the base, as usual. We're not going to be talking about the external TCs, and the compound is basically the same as in every other video, and you can do this however you like. You can have your own custom gatehouse TCs or external TCs, whatever. I have it simple for the sake of the video. We're focusing on the actual main base rather than the outside right here. Now, going in from the compound without spike jumping, you'll notice that all the way around we have these I call them compound bedrooms, which allow you to respawn and immediately spawn in the compound, which is generally nice. It also features quite some space, and you can have some nice drop boxes. And on top of that, mine have access to the elevator, which leads all the way up to the shooting floor. You notice on the corners I have these classic, well, I call them classic because I've used them in previous base designs. You have these classic turret spots that lead all the way up to the roof right there as well with the corners. Majority of this base is connected to one TC, and I've done that because of simplicity. I want this base to be simple to build. You can build it straight away from a 2x2 into a 4x4 into this, and there's nothing complicated going on with external TCs. There's still external TCs. You need to have the externals because of takeover TCs. If you don't have that, it's just impossible. Like, your base is so easy to raid. That's for that. That's for the outside, what you see. Now, when we enter, you notice there was 4 doors going around. There's 4 doors going into this base. You can also do 2. Depends on what you want. But when you enter, you notice that you enter into the outer ring. There's this ladder hatch that leads you up to the inner peaks, which is nice because if a certain part of your base is being raided, you still have multiple ways to go up to your roof, to your shooting floor directly, or to your peaks. before you enter your first layer of peaks or your core. So going around, you notice that it's only on 2 sides, but on all sides there's ways in, but only on 2 sides there's this shortcut up to the peaks. So continuing on, we have the inner ring, which is the actual initial 2x2. We have these little refineries, which is nice. And this is a basic 4x4, basic 2x2 into a 4x4 with pretty basic peaks. You notice the peaks are actually connected to the outside. Reason for it is because it's least likely to be pummeled in that sense, and there's honeycomb. So those peaks stay up longer, theoretically. Now going into the actual 2x2, you notice there's 1 door in. Basic 2x2, very simple, nothing crazy going on here. I haven't even placed anything in here. You can do this and adjust however you like. Going up to the top of the 2x2, you notice there's 2 ladder hatches going up, which in this case lead to main loot. This is main loot. Not going to show too much of it because you can basically make this however you like. In the build, I show you an area and you can just make main loot however you want. I would recommend that. I wouldn't exactly copy mine. So shortly going over that. Basic 4x4 peaks in that sense. And as you notice, there's further on 2 doors to the outer ring. Now the ring, we have this ladder hatch again, which is what leads up, down, or I mean, where we were earlier, which leads up to the outer ring of peaks. You notice there's a ladder hatch up here, which leads to the shooting floor. And running around, we have 2 sides with drop chests right there. Not really drop chests, but more of like, kind of like a bedroom, I would say. It's just extra storage and nice to have in general. And yeah, continuing on, we go up to the shooting floor right here through this ladder hatch. You can either go continuing like that and we'll have the roof, or you can go in here, airlock possibly as well if needed. Going in here, we have the shooting floor. Now running around, we have these, once again, these classic corners with the turrets on top. And you'll notice that there's 2 ways in or out to your core. On the other 2 sides, we have a turret with a box, just extra storage in case. On 2 sides on the shooting floor, we have the elevators. Once again, in the airlock, in the bedroom down there, what we talked about. You can go up all the way to your shooting floor from there. And on the corners, we have 4 bedrooms with 2 beds and 2 lockers each. On the other 2 sides, we have these so-called custom wide gap shooting floor bedrooms, I would say. Simple boxes right there, 4 bedrooms each. These beds are least likely to be blown, and you have an option to peek your shooting floor to a really nutty angle here. If needed, you can basically see 50% of your shooting floor from this side and 50 on the other side. The also nice thing about this is that you can actually go and peek the roof without leaving or without actually having to enter your shooting floor. So we can peek the roof here, and we can have this door closed. So we can definitely peek the roof without actually having to go out of our bedroom to a part where raiders might be, which is a great help if you want to regain roof control. So that was also our roof peaks, and if we continue, we go up to our roof. We have a really open roof with some add-ons that in the end of the build we talk about, but you don't need to have. Chain link fence for the turrets, just so they can't be bowed out. They can still be rocketed out. And 2 little mini garages. Now the roof is very custom as well, just like main loot. You can do whatever you like. You can do it like this, but you can also have a big ass heli garage here. You can also just have nothing. Like it really depends on what you like. Yeah, that is basically the base, and that's the tour of the base. Simplicity and summarized up 2x2 into 4x4. No crazy multi-TC or wide gap stuff going. Just a simple base that you can just quickly put up, and you don't have to waste time on anything. You can just build, and it should be up very easily. So yeah, that's a bit tour of the base. All right, let's talk about build costs and upkeep. Let's talk about costs first. To build this base, you actually need, I would say, about 150k stone. It's in my terms, for a 4-man, if you're actively playing, not that much. If you have to all farm it straight up, it is quite a lot. But the base can be built from a 2x2 to a 4x4 starter with externals, and it should not be that hard to get. Now with all doors and everything upgraded to metal and literally every door placed, I would say it's about 180,000 metal frags in total. Now for upkeep, we have 4 external TCs that basically don't have anything. So this is nothing. 400 metal, 150 stone. It's basically nothing. This one is probably even less. 380 metal, that's it. So yeah, most of the base is actually done through the main core TC. Speaking of upkeep, we're talking about 54k metal, but once again, this is literally with every single door placed. And also all garage doors, armored doors, you name it. I think in total, you would say the upkeep about being about 45k a day. And we also have some stone. If you upgrade all that to stone, I'd say it's about 56 in total. So yeah, that is upkeep and that is build cost. Now to build this base, we can build it all the way from starter to main. And you don't really need a flat area specifically. All you need to know is that you can't add a airlock to the 2x2. You can just make a normal 2x2, but you're going to also need a jump up inside of the 2x2. Now, I like to do the inner layout like this, but you can do it however you like. Now, I recommend to have the starter like this with a jump up like that. Although you notice there's no airlock, just to be safe, you could add a double door there. And in that sense, have some kind of protection. Building out further, we want to increase the height of the 2x2. You just want to keep going up until you're above the 3rd floor. Now, above the 3rd floor, you want to do a door once again like this. Now, what I like to do is I like to face the door right under here. Because if you do get raided, there's not really an angle anyone can peek you from. You can literally just hold a jump up and raiders have to actually drop down all the way to be able to shoot at you. Once again, how you lay out the inner 2x2 is totally up to yourself. Once the initial 2x2 is done, we can go for the outer ring, or well, the first outer ring, and making our 2x2 into a 4x4. I would start with this and I would do this as fast as you can. Now, if you want an oil refinery in your inner ring, what you can do is place 2 triangles like that on both sides already. Remove those 2 foundies and you should have enough space to put down a refinery. The way you want your way in, you can either do them right here and right there. I would actually do them right there so they're not straight away at where the door is. And the rest you want to continue with walls. Now, you want to go up 2 more floors until we reach the floor of the top of the 2x2. And once we are on the top here, you want to do corners. And in the corners, you want to do frames. You want to do double, 2 high, and then a half wall with a floor, and then 2 windows like that. I would recommend to make this and this metal. The frames you can leave stone. They're not really important. Now, for the initial set of peek downs, what I want to do on this base is I want to attach them to the outer wall. Now, a lot of you would say, yeah, but if they raid from the side, these will crumble. They will. At this point, they will. But when we're done with the base, they won't. Because there will be a triangular honeycomb area. Once you're done with this, you want to decide where you want your doors out. What I like to do is see on the inner 2x2, I want to have a way out there and a way out there. And then you want to make sure that at least these doors are not straight away facing another door. So ultimately, I would do them right here and right here. I just don't like to have doors in front of doors Now we're going to close off the 2x2 and we're going to place 2 square frames right there and right there. And the rest we close off fully. Now obviously this 2x2 is not secure yet. You want to do doors on both the bottom and the top. This way we have our initial 4x4 secured. Now this is the initial starter with peek downs. Should not be very expensive. As you can see, I use metal, but I would say it's about 30k stone to get to this point. Now at this point, you're probably going to put external TCs down. And so from the middle, we're going to do triangles out like that. We do that on all sides, and from the triangle we just built out, we do 3 squares, both on left and right, and then we do the classic square, triangle, triangle, square, triangle, triangle, square, and we go around to create a ring. So 2 triangles, square, 2 more triangles, and then we can connect it here again. We do the same till we create the ring around. Now from here we want to put a door frame right here, and we want to do a door frame right here. Now we could also just stagger them again and put them here and here. I would just recommend to have these either way. You can also make 4 ways in. It really depends on what you want. I would recommend to decide if you want 4 ways in or 2 ways and how you want to stagger these. But it's going to be a bit annoying to have to run around all this way just to get out. So I would recommend to put at least a door there. Now, I'm also going to put a door right there because I like it like that, creates a lot of mobility in the base. So we have 4 ways into the outer ring, or necessarily the first ring, the 4x4 ring. And now we're going to build the outer ring. So we're going to go and build walls around once again. And we're going to build up until we reach 3 high. So 2 more walls, 3 total. Now on the inside here, where we have these triangles, we want to make a ladder hatch possible area, I would say. I'm going to have it on the right, and I'm going to do a twig jump up for now. But ultimately, eventually, there'll be a ladder hatch right there. And so you can go up. Now in here, we are going to do honeycomb. Like that. And we're going to go up with jump ups. So like that. And then one more like that. Now you could also decide to do a ladder hatch right there, actually. Let's just do that, just because it's a little bit easier. Like that. Now I would have that, and then another one on this side. You don't have to make 4 jump ups all the way around, even if you have the doors. So for the side where you don't want the ladder hatch, I would just literally wall it off and just make straight up honeycomb. This can be really good against rockets pummeling your base. So you wall that off like that. So we have one side without, one side with. We do one more there and then one more not here. Now, once we've created these jump ups and these honeycomb areas, we want to continue and we want to create the outer layer of peaks. Now, you want to create a wall around fully without any doors or nothing else. And on top of that, you want to do a half wall. Now, this is where we're going to be closing off the shell. Now, where you want your long end. When you are in your inner peekdowns layer on top, you notice that there's only 2 ways out. And when you go out here, what I would recommend is to have the way up to the shooting floor right there and right here. It's just easy for mobility, ladder hatch. We're going to go around and we're going to continue. Now, what you want to do here is do a half wall layer around. Like that. Now, this is closed off for now. Do not place squares right here and here. We don't want to do that. At this point, I would definitely recommend you're going to have your external TCs up. We already did the second layer of peaks. But you can decide to put the external TCs first. And then build up this outer shell and the second layer of peaks. So you can decide in what order you want to do it yourself. I like to have 4 takeover TCs. And so what you want to do is you want to do a square right there and a square right there. And for now, we're going to do a twig square right here. Now this applies to each side. So we're going to do that 4 times, but I'm only going to show you once. So what you do is from the twig square, you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a triangle. You remove everything that is twig and we build back with triangles. For the last square, we upgrade to metal. From the metal square, we want to do 6 total squares in total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then a triangle with a TC. Now, I'm making this pretty basic with a simple door. How you make these TC houses is totally up to yourself. You can create your own design here. It's not actual part of the design. And so I'm just going to leave them simple as that. You do this on each side of the base. Now, depending on your compound size, and once again, this is also not part of the build. You can actually decide however big you want your compound. You can go around all the TCs. You can make a smaller one, then a bigger one, or you can just do one. I would recommend to have at least 1 TC in each corner. If you do decide to make a compound, if you do it like this, the way I did with the barricade gatehouses with a single door, you need to have 20 walls, 20 wood walls to make this first layer of compound. Now, from here, we want to finish the main loot room. Now, what I like to have is I like to have chests on the bottom here. You don't need to have them, but what you can do is you can, using stone temporarily, or actually not really temporarily, but we can upgrade it later on. We can create these really nice square loot rooms. Now, if you're unfamiliar with how to make them, it's pretty simple. You just align yourself the following way. You place this first box. You place this second box, you place this third box, and you place this fourth box. You do that on all 4, and that's basically drop boxes on the floor in your main loot. And you can then, after you place the boxes, upgrade all of this to metal. And on the jump on the ladder hatch area, you don't put a floor, but here you do put a floor like that. Now for the main loot room, what you want to do is you want to go around like this. Of course, you want to make these walls armored eventually. What I like to do is have a big wall of boxes on both sides. Now, you would say you can lay out this loot room in different ways, obviously, so do however you like. But I'm doing it like this. Now, on one side here, you can put a tier 3. On the other, you can put beds or I don't know. And then what I like to do is have triangles like that to make it easier to load all these boxes and to get around. Now we close this all off. And you're going to want to make sure that the top of your loot room is armored. Alright, now for the shooting floor, and once again we're going to do this on every corner the same. We're going to do these classic corners that I've used in previous designs as well, where we have 2 half walls and 2 frames like that with a floor on top. Really good peak angles for turrets. And we continue with frames up, staggered in that sense, until you reach this floor right here. It's 1.5 height until we have the top where the shooting floor is. And what you want to do is you want to do 2 half walls like that with 2 windows on top on that side. Now going up further, on the other side, on the corner, we do 2 more frames and then 2 half walls with a floor. And then 2 windows like that with another 2 half walls on top. Frames there, frames here, floor on top. You want to do this corner on all the other corners as well. Once you have the corners done, what you want to decide is how you want to have these front door airlock areas. Now, this is an area where we're going to put beds and stuff that actually fit in the compound. So it's really nice. And we're also going to be making an elevator out of that going to the shooting floor. Now, you can do 4 elevators, 1 on each external TC, or you can only do 2. I'm only going to do 2, but I'm going to have the actual airlock with bedrooms on every single one. So, you want to do a single door attached to your external. Then you want to do windows all around. Like that. And a door frame like that. And 2 more here. And close that off like that. Should be something like this. So the only thing attached to the external TC is a single door. You can decide to just completely close this off. But I like to keep it open. So that these turrets still have angles. And you have necessarily another kind of like protective ring. Then you create this room. And then on the other side we do the same room. That's also closed off on the top. Now for the other 2 sides we also create the same room. But with one change. Which is that in the middle there'll be a gap for a ladder hatch. Like that. Now this ladder hatch we focus and we put it towards the outside. So now we have necessarily 4 kind of like compound rooms. 2 that will lead up to the elevator side. 2 that simply won't. Now continue on for the shooting floor. We're gonna build up with frames everywhere. Literally everywhere except for the part where these ladder hatch rooms are. These ladder hatch rooms you basically want to completely wall off all the way around. And you want to go up until you reach pretty much shooting floor level. Which is 1 more half wall layer and right there. Now this ladder hatch I actually faced, that one is faced that way. This one we will rotate simply because once you get up to the ladder hatch, we will have 2 ladders going up and it will be easier to make the jump and rotate like that. You have this tower on the other side as well, and for the rest we completely continue building up with frames, and on the top we do half walls like that. For this side. Now we have 2 sides done, both sides with the ladder hatches. Now we're going to focus on the sides without the ladder hatches, and they're plain and simple. You're just going to want to build all the way up until you hit this floor where you want to do half walls. Now on the corners here you want to do half walls, but on the inside you're going to do windows and a half wall in the middle like that. Now we continue on the outside of like the bedroom, compound bedroom, until we hit that floor as well. We close it off like that. And all the way around, we put walls. For now, we're going to leave it like that. We do that one on the other side too. Now, just filling in the gaps of the shooting floor on the corners. We're doing triangles. And on the middle here, we simply do classic peaks, but they are attached to the outside frames like that. We have that on all 4 sides. You will notice that on this side, you can actually not attach a triangle. So you want to do a floor like that with 2 floor frames like that and continue attaching like that. Now to continue on the shooting floor, continuing with these shooting floor, white cap shooting floor bedrooms. Now, I'm sorry the base is already built a little bit further, but I noticed something in the design and I fixed it. To build up these like wide gap shooting floor bedrooms. To finish them off, you want to do a frame here. You want to go around with half walls, except for the wall that's facing to the external TC. You want to put a full wall there. Continue around, then close it off, except for the middle. On the middle, do 2 frames like that. We do half walls and a low wall, and then a floor on top, like that. Now in here, we make these spiral stairs. We make them go up all the way like that, so we have a good peak angle on the roof. Now to finish it off, on the corners here, we have windows. And the same goes on that side. Now for the ladder hatch sides, we just have windows all the way around. Now continuing with the actual inside of the shooting floor, what you want to do is, where the ladder hatch is right there, you want to do a room that's like this. And we're going to do a ladder hatch going up to the roof right there. We face the ladder hatch practical way, obviously. And we do the same on the other side. Now, to create the bedrooms, what I like to do is I like to have 2 lockers in each bed and 2 beds in each bedroom, I mean. So on the corners here, we do a door frame and walls like that. Cool bedrooms. And so we have one like that with 2 triangles and a square in the middle. 2 triangles and a square in the middle. And we do the same on the other side. Now what that will leave us with is space right here. What you can do here is a couple of things. You could make this your jump up to the roof. You can also make it into an extra bedroom. Although it functions as honeycomb for the main loot. So what I would recommend is to just keep it completely closed. But what you can also do is you can have a turret right there. Maybe with a drop box or something like that. We close off the bedrooms and the rest. And we can close off the rest of the roof as well. The roof, the stability is actually really, really good. So what you can do is on the corners have these turret areas. And you want to continue where you have the roof peaks with roofs like that. And once again, for the actual roof, you can do whatever the hell you like. If you want to have a big heli garage or a big shop, whatever, put that. Although this is what I like to do. It's a really open roof. Open so that you can put a lot of turrets and there's a lot of angles. Now, there's also a V2 version that I just want to give a little sneak peek of. Because it is a very cool base and it looks really cool. I just wanted to release the V1 version first, which is more simplistic. Before I would release the multi-TC floor stacked and wide gapped second version. Which is definitely a lot better in terms of upkeep. It's about the same upkeep. Although you have externals that have 3000 metal frags instead of 400. So that's like the only difference. Build cost, it's also a lot more expensive, obviously. But this base is just absolutely nuts. It's a honeycombed version. It's triple peek down. It's a main loot on top. That's floor stacked. And it's like 6 or 7 walls from the side to main loot. Which is just absolutely insane. If you want to see it, show one. So we have 1 wall here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to main loot. Now that's it for the sneak peek. Not going to show you too much. But that base is coming soon as well. Now that was it for this one. If you're just as excited as me to show you guys the V2 version already, please let me know in the comments. And also, once again on top of that, if you end up using the base and actually have some nice raid defenses or wipes with it, please let me know as well. I would appreciate and I would be happy to hear that. And to support me further, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. And of course, leave a like on the video. I will see you all in the next one. Take care.